Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Roach TV, the podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Fiddy, all the way from Toronto. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Everybody's good, man. First things first, I don't want to ask your age, but I think like we're around the same age. I'm 32.
I'm 25.
You're 25 years old. Holy shit. So,
25.
so do you remember what it was like in Toronto, especially the hip hop scene before Drake came along?
Oh yeah, that was Cardinal Official days, boy. Everybody was dancing to that Cardinal. Everybody was ripping the T dot, not the six. It was T dot.
Yeah, I think one thing that Drake's done is that he's convinced people that Toronto was known as the six before him. And I think
Oh,
that was a phrase that he came up with.
that's definitely a phrase that he invented for the city because Atlanta is called the six as well, which has caused a lot of confusion with hip hop. Because now you hear Little Yachty saying he's from the six, but he's from Atlanta. He ain't from Toronto, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Are you a fan of Lil Yachty?
A few. I like what he's doing. I don't really like his music, but I like what he's doing. If that makes sense.
I think he's a marketing genius. I think
That's exactly it.
most of these guys nowadays are just marketing geniuses. They're not good rappers.
Facts.
It's true. And especially with the use of social media now, they know how to they make their beefs public. I've seen a trend in that where rappers argue
Oh
with each
yeah.
other. They argue
Oh
with each
yeah.
other on social media.
They're trying to get the attention from their fans because if I'm beefing with you and all your fans are gonna now know about me, you know what I mean? It's a way of interconnecting my fan base and your fan base without having an actual problem.
Facts. Now, for those of you who are brand new to the show, this is kind of open format. We discuss pretty much anything and everything. But being that you submitted your music video through Reverb Nation, and we posted the video on the YouTube channel, I just want to ask you, as a recording artist, how did your life change when you put out your first single, Rockstar?
In terms of what? Like in terms of my lifestyle, in terms of like everyday life, in terms of like my goals, in terms of what?
Pretty much in terms of your goals, because the way I look at it, you a lot of people get discouraged when they're putting out music, and especially in today's industry where it's about clout chasing more than anything else. When people put out a product and it's not well received, they look at that like the top of the staircase. To me,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
me, it's everyday steps. I'm not gonna know what I'm gonna be doing in 2 days until I figure out what I need to do tomorrow, and I'm not gonna figure out what to do tomorrow until I figure out what I need to do today. So
Amen.
how did your goal progression change after you put out your first release?
So I've been a freestyler for as long as I can remember because I grew up in a predominantly black area and being a white kid, I had to kind of get something, to hang out with the guys. So I used to freestyle. I never really took it serious, but a little while ago, I started taking it serious, and I knew I wasn't gonna drop a song and get a million views right away because no one knows who I am. So I knew that it was gonna be received the way it was. Few hundred streams here, few hundred here, maybe a featured playlist, but nothing major. So when everyone was like, "Yo, bro, you made a song and you only got 200 views," that's that's 200 views more than what I had before. So to me, it's still a gain. It's still a win. I'm not looking at the numbers game. I'm not in it for a year. I'm trying to be here for 30, 40 years. I'm trying to do Elvis Presley. I'm trying to do, you know, I'm trying to change music. I'm trying to come about it in my own way. So it doesn't matter that I don't got a million views right away. And that's the way I'm looking at it. Every day I get a new fan. Every day I get more views. And that's what's keeping me going.
And that's a mentality that I think a lot more people need to adapt, because the amount of talent that walk away from the stage just out of frustration, like, you have to give yourself time. if this is something that you really want to do, especially like me with this podcast, there's days that I'll look at this entire setup and I'm just frustrated because I'm like, yeah, I do this show entirely by myself. But then when I break down the numbers and I say, all right, if I bring a guest on the show every single day for 1 year, I'll have almost 400 fucking guests at the end of the year. That's going to put me at a different position than I am right now. So every single day you have to keep with that mentality of what can I accomplish today that's going to help me, that will help tomorrow be better than today. And if
Hell yeah.
if you do that shit every day, it's going to be a natural progression. You're not even going to be thinking about it. It's just going to happen.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things that you said was that you were a freestyler. Now,
Yeah.
I was big on Smack DVD. I used to watch all the battles. And then once Smack DVD turned to Smack URL, and then all these other, battle rapping, I guess leagues started popping up everywhere. The other one that I saw was King of the Dot, and I believe that's in Canada.
Yeah.
Have you ever attended those events? You ever think about jumping in the ring?
It's not freestyling what those guys are doing. Those guys get material. They understand your life story. They know what school you went to. They write it down and they break it down in a way that sounds like a freestyle. That ain't me. You throw me 30 words right now, I'll put them in a 16. You know what I'm saying? That's freestyling. That's coming off the top of the head. If I jumped in the ring with those guys, these guys would be talking about what I did in third grade. I'd be talking about what they're wearing right now and
See,
who
but
they're with.
that's exactly what will put you at a position of advantage because the rebuttal aspect of their kind of freestyling, their kind of battling is what really separates people. Everybody knows that these are pre-written. You're going in there, you're preparing weeks in advance for your opponent, whatever. But if your opponent says something that you can rebuttal during your turn, that's going to be the punch in the face to everybody that's going to be like, God damn, this motherfucker knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but there've been examples of that. Like, I've seen Hollow the Dawn change up his whole entire set because the guy brought up his mom. And then he started going off about something else because that threw him off. And that just made him want to talk about something else. And he didn't even go and resort back to his written. So I see what you're saying, that if somebody says something, it could trigger you to bring more freestyling out to like, hey, you called me this. Well, hey, let me flip it and call you that.
And that's what's winning. And
Yeah.
I think the checks that come with those kind of battles now, I think that's why people get into it because it's ridiculous amount of money for a small amount of time.
But I feel like those people aren't making it anywhere. Look at Murder Mook. Murder Mook is one of the greatest freestylers that ever lived. He never got a record deal. He never got a single on the Billboard. He never did any of that, but he got clout. He got hype. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers. That wasn't enough to help his career, though. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
was on Smack like 10 times.
yeah, but you have songs already. I was listening to most of your tracks on Reverb Nation right before we jumped on the air, and I heard good music. It was great music. So
Okay.
being that you have good music already, that's not something that you need to work on. It's just this other avenue could possibly be something that puts you over. It's kind of like Brock Lesnar going to the UFC.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's going to get me more exposure, bigger fan base. It'll help out with the reach, for sure.
Now, in doing my research, we have something in common. We're both college dropouts. I just want to ask you what made you take that leap of faith?
To be honest, somebody I work with at my day job who finished university with the exact same career or the same degree I was aiming for and the same career, he hasn't got a job in 9 years. So I'm fighting to be unemployed and getting into debt over unemployment. I might as well live my dream for what it is. You know what I mean? So if I can do what I'm doing now and I don't make it, at least I tried. But if I went to university, I'd still be sitting on my ass doing the same thing I'm doing now.
I think that's a weird epidemic in that most people believe in the college system, but like with me personally, when I enrolled in college, I didn't really know what to expect. I've been building computers since I was 13 years old, so I've always been a nerd. I've always been a geek. So when I go to college, and this is supposed to be the place that helps me reach, the next level, and They drew a long rectangle and a small circle on the whiteboard, and they wrote keyboard and mouse next to it.
Okay.
This was like what, computer 101. I knew this shit when I was in first grade. Like, why are you wasting money on things that you're not going to use in real life?
Amen.
To me, that's what the college system is. It just puts you in debt. Everyone that I know that has a college degree, they don't do what the fuck they got their degree in.
And many people, my fiance, for example, she has her English degree and her teacher doctorate, but she ain't doing it because they ain't hiring. You know what I mean? I met her in university. That's the only thing I took away from university was a woman.
So it worked out then.
In some ways, you could say it did, right? Everything happens for a reason, right? Like even when I was at university, I met some of the people that pushed me to do this. While we were having a smoke break, these guys throw on a beat and I freestyle for 8 minutes straight. They're like, "How do you not have music out right now?" And it's like I haven't taken it serious until now.
Have you been seeing a lot of love from the other Reverb Nation opportunities?
Yeah, I've. This is about my third or fourth time being chosen from a Reverb Nation promotion, and it's nice that a lot of people from around the world are receiving my music very well. But I'm not getting a lot of love in my own city because I'm not talking about shooting people, and I'm not talking about all the drugs that I don't imaginary sell. You know what I mean? That like my own city is kind of not putting me on the hip hop scene. We've got a hip hop show. They refuse to put me on. It's because my music isn't about gang banging, and I don't understand that, right? But my city's doing something else. I'm trying to do worldwide. I don't even care about my city if my city doesn't care about me. You know what I mean?
I think that's a crazy thing. That's fucking ridiculous that promoting negativity is what brings financial gain.
Oh yeah, it's been that way for a long time.
Outside of Drake, who are like the key players out there in Canada?
Um, for sure you have to say the weekend. Abel's doing big things. Um, every time Abel drops something, that's everything at the party. Everybody's talking about the weekend, the weekend, the weekend. Oh yeah, the weekend. And also from Canada, I would say Justin Bieber's still putting it on for us, but he hasn't done anything for a while. But as far as Canada and Canadian talent, we're pretty lacking, like on the hip hop front right now.
Do you think, or let me rephrase the question. How will you use social media and technology to continue to, I guess, reach a broader audience? Because every day new technology is coming out. I just found this thing the other day. There's this website called Restream that I basically created a free account and I linked about, it was about 7 or 8 different services. I'm talking about YouTube, Twitch, Mob Crush, all these streaming websites to this one website, so that when I broadcast live, all I need is one stream key and I'm live on like 10 websites simultaneously. So
Damn.
how do you keep up with the technology that's going to help advance your career?
Well, as far as like the technology with social media, it's helped with getting the music out there. I've got fans in Romania, in Russia, in Thailand, and it's just because I did a sponsored ad and they chose who my audience was. I chose 25-year-olds around the globe. So I wasn't looking for race, I wasn't looking for interest. I was just picking people my age that have kind of gone through some of the stuff I talk about in my music that can relate to it. So when there's a new thing that comes out, let's just say in 5 years or even a year, there's a new social media outlook where they're showing your everyday life even further, like people live streaming now. If there was a live streaming app like that, maybe I might get into that so my fans could see what I do on my everyday life when I'm in the studio, how a song gets made. Because I'm finding a lot of people nowadays, they love to keep up with the artists. They want to see who they're with. They want to see where they're going and who they're with. And like Oh, is this guy in Toronto? Oh wow, look at his Snapchat, look at his Instagram. He just flew to my city. And then they want to see what restaurants he's at, and it adds a whole bunch of how do you say, it adds a bunch of relatability, because you're seeing somebody big, famous, and then they're on the same street you lived on
Yeah.
because they're on Instagram driving by it, and you're like, holy fuck, man, this guy's right here.
The more you make your fans feel like family, the bigger your family will become.
Definitely, definitely.
And it's a weird relationship because you're speaking to everyone through like a lens, and
I know.
it's like it's you're allowing yourself to be so personal, to show people what you're eating, where you eat, where you hang out, the people you're with, that sometimes it's taboo, because at the end of the day, when you do reach that fame, all you want is privacy.
Yeah.
Do you fear fame? Do you fear the day that you can't walk outside without getting mobbed by a bunch of fucking paparazzis?
Honestly, I'm one of those guys that loves the attention. Like, I'm blasting my music full blast in the middle of a sunny, hot day with everyone looking in the road like, who is the idiot blasting the music, disturbing the peace? That's me. I like eyes on me. But if we're talking about a million eyes and every girl left and right and every guy wants a signature and wants to join the record label, it gets to a certain point where you got to be cautious for not only yourself, but for the safety and security of everybody else.
Very true. Very true.
But I'm not scared of it. I'm embracing if it happens, and I know what I would do. I would move to somewhere, a small city. I'm not gonna live in Toronto still. I'm not gonna live in LA, because then you're gonna get bothered 20 times a day. Move to some little city, population 2,000 people. Then hopefully everything goes good from there.
It's like Dave Chappelle, one of the most famous people of all time, lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
It's
Like,
like
that's just amazing.
you need to get away from this shit sometimes. So as far as the music goes, you have any performances lined up? You have any new music about to be released?
So I got a performance coming up on the 27th. It's my first headlining show that I'm the main entertainment. I'm the only entertainment. It's in a little city called Little Current, Ontario. It's about 6 hours north of Toronto, and I'll be doing a 2 3 hour set. I'll be performing all my music, everything that's on the website, and also unreleased 9 tracks, which I'm hoping should be ready by August 1st to release to the public as a summer tape.
And you're gonna be releasing on all platforms?
Oh yeah, all platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Deezer, anything you could get music on, you can find me on.
And right now, where can the people find you on social media?
On social media, you can find me on Facebook at Fiddy TNMM. You can find me on Instagram at TNMM underscore white. You can you can find me on Twitter at Fiddy TNMM. You if you just Google Fiddy, you'll find me. I'm the only person that pops up. I like that. I really like that.
Well, I'm gonna bring you back on the show maybe in a few weeks. We need another update, so I look forward to it, bro.
Definitely, man. It was good talking to you.
Very nice. Talk to you very soon, bro.
All right, man. Have a good day.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tree Fiddy, all the way from Toronto, Canada. One of the many artists who submitted their music video via Reverb Nation. So if you haven't already, log on to reverbnation.com, search for Roach TV as an opportunity, submit your music video. It was another fantastic episode. I love doing these interviews. I like keeping them short and concise because I want to keep bringing them back on. With that being said, if you guys haven't already, subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/RoachTV, RoachTV.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I'm King Roach. Of course, you can support the show through Patreon at patreon.com/RoachTV.